Great morning, everyone. Welcome to our Gear Up series. This is our third series for this year, and I would like to welcome everyone. Thank you for being here, and let us know where you are tuning in, and please let us get to know you. Before anything else, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Maya Rosales. I'll be your MC for this morning, and before we start, some reminders. In order for you to get the most out of this series, we'd ask you to use your headset or also open up your notes, and you can take down notes because we have someone very knowledgeable about the subject matter. In fact, we're very excited to have him here. So please let us know where are you calling from or tuning in, what city, and even your profession, what's your background, and why are you here? Okay, so we have someone saying good morning. Yes, good morning, Rona. Thank you for tuning in. And we are live currently, and we are so excited for this morning. But the good news is I won't be alone. I will be partnered with someone also in the group's name is Al Reyes. Al,
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, Maya. Good
good
morning to
morning.
our audience. um,
How are
first
you,
of all,
Al?
yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Um, First of all, thank you to our audience for choosing to be with us on this exciting Saturday morning. Allow me to say this. You made the right choice. You made the right choice to join us here today because we promise you a Saturday morning full of learnings and inspirations. I know ang
Yes.
dami niyong pwedeng gawin, no? You could have been somewhere else today, but you chose to be with us here now. Please let us know what made you show up here today. Please
Yes.
write in the chat box and let us know what made you show up here today.
Yes. Naku, Al, mukhang marami kang fan na. Bumabati sa'yo. From
Hello.
Ella. Good morning, Ella. Si Rona also, good morning. Ayan.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
for tuning.
Rona. Thank you, Ella.
So, ano ba tong gear up na to na ginagawa natin? What is this about? And why are we having this kind of session? Ano ba tong ino-offer natin? Oh, can you hear me? Oh, sorry kasi alam mo naman ang ating internet, napakagaling, ano? So, I was just asking what our Gear Up series is all about. Siguro for the sake of our new uh, participants who just tuned in, so Gear Up is a series of talks that we offer about inspiration, or about entrepreneurship, or things that are important and relevant to you. Siguro, to further explain this, let us welcome the leader of our team. So can you please call on our team leader, Mr. Rayson Lucido.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Rayson.
Good morning, Maya. Good morning, Al. Thank you for hosting our webinar for this morning. My name is Rayson Lucido. I'm the head of Lucido Financials. This is actually our third Gear Up webinar. The title of our webinar is Rising from Rock Bottom. So allow me to introduce our group first. We're Lucido Financials. We're a group of financial advisors, and our goal and our aim is to promote financial literacy among Filipinos. But on top of that, we would also like to add value to our audience, to our followers, to our clients. So we're doing this webinar, so again, to add value and discuss topics that are relevant today during this time of pandemic. And we know that during this time of crisis, many of our friends, families really feel they're in their lowest point in their life. And some describe it as rock bottom experience. And so this morning, we invited again our speaker from our second webinar. If you would remember, you know thyself natin, na webinar last month, we invited him again. So this is practically a part two of that webinar. And for today, we will focus on the lessons and learnings from his book entitled The Boat is Sinking. So this is his book. I've read it. It's very good. And totoo yung sinabi ni Al that after this webinar, you will come out of this webinar inspired, full of hope. And yun ang prayer namin that after learning these lessons in this webinar, ay mas makakaahon tayo from where we are right now in our own rock bottoms, our experiences of rock bottoms. So, yon Maya and Al, di ko na patatagalin. I'm excited to hear from our speaker this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yan, Sir Rayson, we really appreciate it. No? So, excited ka na ba, Al, sa ating session this morning?
Oo, kahapon pa, Maya.
Kahapon pa. Ako din, tamang-tama yung topic eh. So, let me introduce our speaker for the sake of our audience. Actually, part 2 na niya sa atin, di ba, Al? He was our speaker last time. And he's very generous enough to give his time again to us this morning. He has 36 years of work experience covering organization development, human resource development, investment promotion and business development, project management and sales in Asian, European, and the American settings. He is also, for the last 2 decades, talagang full of experience ang ating speaker. For the last 2 decades, he has been helping families and different organizations in organizational development and continues to engage individuals and organizations in their journey of seeking clarity on their sense of identity, purpose, and destiny. Wow. And most of his consulting engagements revolve around corporate purpose, vision, mission, values, culture, and strategy. So his focus has mainly been with family-owned business, helping them sustain success beyond the second, third generations, and even beyond. He believes in bringing faith-based values to the workplace, driven by a strong sense of mission. And right now, he is also an author of this new book, which is in fact an Amazon best-selling book. The boat is sinking. So friends, our audience, please help me welcome Dr. Omi Romero.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning,
Good
Omi.
morning,
Welcome.
Omi. Thank you for
Timing
being
na
with us.
Alam mo, timing. Habang ini-introduce nyo ako, akala ko madidisgrasya na tayo. Biglang tumulo yung aircon dito eh.
I think naintindihan naman ng ating audience no talagang technical difficulties happen nowadays.
Yes.
Tamang-tama yan sa pag-usapan natin, Omi.
So, Omi,
Ang daming curveballs ang buhay.
Yes,
So,
oo, kasi-
today,
Tama, curveballs
we will
ang
learn
tawag
how
natin,
to
hindi
rise up
inaasahan.
from rock bottom.
yes. So, Omi, curious na kami at saka excited na to learn about this book. Ano? But before we go there, no, there are new people also who are tuning in. Maybe can you share a little bit more about yourself aside from what I mentioned earlier?
Oo nga. Actually, mas gusto ko ipakilala yung sarili ko na isang mama na na nakilala ang Panginoon sa buhay niya at age 16. 16 for me is 1972. Baka hindi pa kayo napapanganak noon. I was then in high school and ewan ko kung makaka-relate kayo dito. It was a time in my life when I had become cynical about anything having to do with religion. And I grew up in a Catholic family. Nag-aral ako sa Catholic school. Pero somehow, nung nasa high school ako, I was invited to a prayer meeting. And I realized, parang just at the word prayer, parang narindi ako, parang sabi ko, ayoko pumunta yung ganon. And the friend who invited me said, pumunta ka na, marami kang makikilala. And just like many of us, we may have different motivations when, we come across these crossroads. Nagpunta ako doon sa prayer meeting sa Baguio. And true enough, I met some friends. But this is what surprised me. yung dati kong kasama ng mga kadurugan yung sa marijuana, usong-uso kasi sa Baguio yung marijuana dati. Aba nakita ko nagdadasal doon na in a way that was so personal. Sabi ko, wow, kakaiba ito. Hindi ako nakakakita ng ganito. You know, that curiosity kept me going to the prayer meetings hanggang nahalata ako nung isang leader doon who was from New Zealand. Ito sa group called Youth with a Mission. Youth with a Mission or YWAM. Napansin nila lagi ako nagpupunta. So, inibitahan ako sa isang many of you may be familiar, di ba, sa Catholic Church, yung Life in the Spirit Seminar. Sa kanila naman, Discipleship Training School. So, parang naging curious ako. Pero nung nalaman ko yung time involved, sabi nila, uh, it will mean all of your weekends for 6 months. Sa loob-loob ko, 16 years old ako, sabi ko, hindi ko ata ibibigay, hindi ata akong handang ibigay yung ano tawag doon, all the weekends of 6 months. So I gave an excuse. I came up with a very good excuse. Sabi ko, you know, Kelvin, I don't think I need to go to the discipleship training school. I think what's important is I believe in God. Ganyan ang tanong ko. Nung sinabi ko yun, akala ko, feel ko yung sagot ko, lusot na ako eh. Tumango lang yung mama, si Kelvin, sabi niya, I agree with you, Omi, sabi niya. But did you know that even Satan believes in God? What makes you different from him? Ayun, doon ako nagulat. Sabi ko, naku, delikado itong pinasukan ko. Out of a juvenile sense of parang fear, nag-sign up ako doon sa discipleship training school. And this is what happened. I hope you can relate to the fact that many times may mga sineset up ang Panginoon sa buhay natin, inibitahan tayo, ayaw natin sundin, ayaw natin pagbigyan. But, you know, as I gave into the discipleship training school weekends, you know what happened to me was biglang nabuhay yung desire ko to know the Lord more. Ang isang expression nun, basa ng Bible, kinakausap ko talaga ang Panginoon, and I would even ask Him questions like, Lord, ano pang pwede kong gawin para matuwa ka sa buhay ko? And, you know, one of the things that came up during my prayer time was, I was 16 years old then, and syempre, nagkakuha na ako ng driver's license. To many of you, you know that having a driver's license at 16 is illegal at the time. And ang ibig sabihin nun, Maya at Al, ibig sabihin nun, nag-falsify ako ng age ko, di ba? Anyway, as that came up, sabi ko sa loob-loob ko, God, sabi ko, oh Lord, sorry doon ah. But you know what? I didn't feel any peace in my heart. Parang nire-remind ako palagi ng Panginoon na dapat may gawin ako tungkol doon. And, you know, for about 2 or 3 weeks, I didn't feel at peace in my prayer time. And so at some point, I said, Lord, bakit? Ano pang gusto mong gawin ko? Delikado yung tanong na gano'n. Ha? Kasi sinagot niya ako in my heart. Parang, ang sagot niya sa akin, ibalik ko yung lisensya ko. Diyos ko, sabi ko, paano pa ibabalik? And anyway, after 3 weeks of struggle, I went back to it was then called the Land Transportation Commission. And I went to the registrar in Baguio City. And kilala niya ako kasi yung tatay ko, what was my dad then? He was a counselor then. Sabi niya, kumusta yung lisensya mo? Nakuha mo na ba? Sabi ko, ano pang problema? Sabi ko, Mr. Mendoza, sabi ko, nagsinungaling po ako eh. 16 lang po ako. Diba, tinignan niya akong ganyan, no? Sabi niya, siya nga, sabi niya, 22 years na ako sa government, eh, hindi ko alam kung anong gagawin ko. Until finally, siguro, he gained his composure. Sabi niya, sige, akin na muna yung lisensya mo, i-cancel natin. When you turn 18, give me a call para i-issue ko. Yung tunay na 18 na, sabi niya. Anyway, ang feeling ko, nung umalis ako noon, tandang-tanda ako pasansot sa Baguio, Friday night. And I felt a certain joy that I never felt before. It was a joy of, meron akong ginawa para sa Panginoon, hindi para may kapalit akong hihingin sa Kanya, kung hindi, because I wanted to please Him. First time yon. Ito na yung kwento na gusto ko i-highlight. The next day, I visit the friend, and of course, wala na akong kotse, and leaving that house, kasi ano yun lugar ng mga expat sa Baguio, paglabas ko ng bahay, may humabol sa akin na aso na expat din. Yung, alam niyo
So,
yung Saint Bernard, yung malaking aso? Eh, yun ang
oo.
greatest ko noon eh, yung aso. And so when I saw the dog, naku, yung takot ko na gano'n. Hindi pa ako natatapos matakot doon sa Saint Bernard. Merong bulldog na lumabas doon sa kabilang bahay. So dalawang malalaking aso papunta sa akin. Alam niyo, sinumbatan ko pa ang Panginoon. Sabi ko, Lord naman, kung hindi ko ginive up yung license ko, nakakotse ako, hindi ako ma-expose dito. I started wrapping my jacket around my arm, parang pangsangga doon sa aso, no? And then a third dog came, a German Shepherd.
Oh my gosh.
Talaga naman sumbat ako ng sumbat sa Panginoon. And all I could say was, Jesus, gumanyan lang ako. And you know, as the German Shepherd came up front, itong si Saint Bernard at saka si Boxer lumayo. Parang natakot sila kay German Shepherd. This German Shepherd, against my expectation, akala ko lulundagan ako. Tinignan lang ako, tapos nag-about face siya, and then nilingonan niya ako. Sabi ko, ano kaya ibig sabihin nito? Then he moved forward. So I tried to step forward, no, tentatively. Tapos nag-step forward din siya, tentative din siya. Lakad ng, sabi ko, gets ko na. Siguro susundan ko lang siya. Nakakaintindi rin naman ng aso kahit may takot ako. Anyway, along that street, which was a street of mga expat houses, maraming asong nagtangkang humabol sa akin ng mga expat din. But each time they would see that German Shepherd, they would back off. Hanggang siguro ito sa about a kilometer walk hanggang dun sa main street where I could get a cab, that dog didn't leave me. Pagsakay ko ng taxi, saka lang siya umalis, parang gano'n. And you know, I just wanted to highlight yung feeling ko noon at 16 years old. You'll never forget an experience like that where literally God working through a German Shepherd, through a dog, protected me from further harm, quote unquote. And parang yun ang gusto ko lang ikwento na magmula doon sa buhay na yun. Yung Maya, and Al, you were sharing about my book, The Boat is Sinking. Hindi lang yan stories of current or of my consulting engagement. Those are made up of stories that came up from my childhood, noon pa. So, mabuti rin na itanong nyo na yan ang aking kwento.
Wow. Wow. Kinalabutan ako. Sobrang nakakaiba yung kwento mo, Omi, no? And,
Kakaiba, no?
oo. So, Omi, with that, ano? So, ano yung pinaghugutan mo ng pagsulat ng libro? I'm sure ang dami mo ng kwento sa buhay na katulad din, sobrang inspiring, sobrang kakaiba, and ano yung background ng book mo na The Boat is Sinking? So, why write that book in the first place?
Unang-una, pagka nabasa niyo yung libro, marami siyang kwento of individuals and even organizations that went through boat is sinking or rock bottom episodes. And naging saksi ako, naging witness ako doon sa pagdaan nila doon sa kanilang boat is sinking episode hanggang umahon silang mas mabuti. And I would tell these stories to friends and almost always, pagka kinukwento ko yan, marami nagsasabi, naku, Omi, dapat sulat mo sa libro yan para marami makaalam, makarinig, ma-encourage yung ganon. And maybe you'll ask, bakit yung title, The Boat is Sinking? Yung boat is sinking, alam niyo yung game, di ba? Yung the boat is sinking, form yourself into groups of 3 or 4. Yung gano'n. Ginagawa mo ba yan? And,
si Ata, social yan, hindi pinapalabas ng mga magulang yan eh. The boat is sinking.
Hindi, kasi pagka ginagawa namin yung mga strategic planning, vision, mission, mga executives, they come to the conference room, very formal, yung mga ganyan. Pero to warm things up, di ba, we play this game, The Boat is Sinking, inform yourself, mga ganyan. Hala, biglang all guards and defenses down and takbuhan sila, katakot-takot, yung ganyan. And then it just gave me insight. Sabi ko, wow, ganito yung buhay natin marami. We can come with a lot of facades. We want to show the world that everything's under control. But when crisis comes, biglang babaan ng mga defense, kanya-kanyang takbuhan. And so we said, di ba? The boat is sinking. So, dinagdagan natin ang tagline because yung the rock bottom, that there is power. Mapapansin nyo dito sa ating kwentuhan that indeed there is so much power in whatever rock bottom we experience.
Mhm. Speaking of rock bottom, maybe our audience can also relate or have their own experience. Alam mo, Omi, ngayon, ang daming kwento ng mga bangka na lumubog sa dagat, ha? I think yung
Oo,
mga fishermen ito na, hindi pa natatagpuan. It must be a very terrifying experience for them. Actually, so yun sa mga fear ko, Omi, yung, alam mo yun,
yeah.
nakasakay ako sa bagpas, biglang matatitanic.
Totoo.
So,
Yeah.
fair ko talaga yun. So, I'm really curious. So, ano ba yung sinasabi mong the power of rock bottom? What do you mean by that? Ano ba yung power of rock bottom?
I think, Maya, for all of us, whether we like it or else, whether we like it or else, magdadaan lahat tayo sa pagsubok or what you can call both is sinking experience or rock bottom experience. And napatunayan ko through experience, my experience and the experience of others that I've spoken to and worked with, na kung ano yung pinagdaanan natin na pagsubok, kung ano yung pinagdaanan natin na rock bottom, laging merong mabuting nangyayari. And when I say that, I don't want to be insensitive to people who are going through rock bottom experience today. I know how difficult it is. Marami sa atin ngayon may have lost a loved one whom we couldn't even say goodbye to kasi COVID conditions, di ba? Or mga nawalan ng trabaho. I want to be sensitive to that na may mga nawalan ng trabaho or business na nawalan ng business, nagsara, or relationships that went bad, yung mga ganyan. Maraming pagdadaanan na ganyan. And I think those stories I have become very familiar with. Magmula nung siguro, I can recall 6 years old pa lang ako, may pinagdaanan ako na I felt was affecting me for the rest of my life. And ano ba yung experience na yun? The experience is about, as a young boy, I was experienced a lot of conflict between my parents, my mom and dad. Kung tutuusin mo, the conflict was the regular conflict between husband and wife. Pero to a 6-year-old na naging witness, parang traumatic yun, di ba? And
Yeah.
I grew up with that kind of fear of any form of conflict. So basta may conflict, umaayaw na ako, umuurong na ako. And ang naging experience ko was I grew up thinking that maybe that fear of conflict was my dysfunction. Kasi may mga taong ano okay lang naman sa kanilang nasa conflict eh. Sinasagupa nila yung conflict, di ba? Pero ako yung parang pagka nakita ko ng conflict, urong ka agad, hindi na ako mag-confront, yung mga ganyan. But guess what? Over time, what God was showing me was He was always leading me to places where there was a lot of conflict and I was being asked to help resolve that conflict. So,
Mm.
magmula sa aming magkakapatid, magmula sa aming mga kaibigan, I have had so many experiences of being the bridge that helped put relationships back to their to where they were supposed to be. And nakakatuwa, Maya, di ba sa consulting, ngayon, most of my consulting work has to do with what? Conflict resolution. Kung ano yung
Mm.
kinakatakutan ko, yun pa yung sinasabakan ko ngayon. And I'm beginning to see that, oy, napaka-importante pala nito sa corporate. Kahit anong
Mm.
galing pala ng produkto, ng strategy, ng service mo, kapag hindi ka marunong mag-handle ng conflict, which is healthy. I'm not saying that conflict is bad. I'm saying today that we all need a healthy dose of conflict. Uh, Importante that we are able to face conflict and resolve it properly. And without
Mm.
that, for businesses, nako, hindi uusad yung ating strategy kapag hindi maayos ang mga relationships. So, ganon yung
Mm.
aking experience.
Amazing. Mm. Al, ano kaya ang masasabi mo tungkol dun sa sinabi ni Omi about the power of rock bottom? Meron ka bang insight or sharing? You're on mute, by the way, Al. You can turn on your mic.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you for that, Naomi. I know, no, tayo, we all go through our own versions of the sinking boat. And I think like most of the audience here and ako din, we are all curious as to how people are able to rise up from their experience of yung experience nila sa rock bottom. And of course, to our dear audience, we would like to know your thoughts about what
Yeah.
Omi just shared with you. Ano yung mga takeaways ninyo? Please continue to share them with us through the chat box. And also, regarding doon sa sinasabi ni Omi na primal fear, I do agree that parang basic instinct no of man to find a way to survive. Kasi ako, like ako, I can't swim. At my age, I really didn't learn how to swim. Kahit
Oh,
na taga-probinsya ako. So, if somebody would throw me doon sa tubig and I cannot swim, definitely I will do everything and anything that I can to stay afloat. I'm sure ganun din tayo lahat. So, parang ano yan it's a basic, it's a primal instinct. So, when faced with our own version of the sinking boat, I'd like to ask the audience, do you charge on or do you back off? So if you say na charge on ka, please write in the chat box, fight, and um, please write in the chat box, flight.
Okay, thank you for
yun,
that,
tama.
Al,
Oh.
no?
Yeah.
While waiting for the comments of the audience, no, Omi, meron akong part dun sa book mo na talagang sobrang nakakatch ng attention ko, and that is the story of Joseph, who is actually a very famous character in the scripture. So why include him in the book?
Kasi parang siya yung nag-personify nung tao na katulad natin, maraming pinagdadaanan or maraming pinagdaanan na pagsubok. Can you imagine, favored son yan si Joseph eh. Ironically, siya yung favorite ng ama niya eh. Pero dahil siya yung favorite, pinagselosan siya ng mga kapatid niya. Dahil doon sa selos na yon, lumaki na lumaki yung selos na yun, naging galit sa kanya hanggang ginusto nilang patayin, pero through the intervention of one of the brothers, sabi niya, "Huwag na lang natin patayin, ipagbili na lang natin as a slave. Kala mo naman mas maganda yung situation na yun. No? Hindi, wag na lang natin patayin, gawin na lang natin alipin." Parang, what a choice, di ba? And then when he was sold as a slave, di ba? Pagdating do sa destination nila, anong ginawa? He was being favored until na-attract sa kanya yung asawa nung leader and in-entice siya. Pero tumanggi siya. Pero ano nangyari? Nung tumanggi siya, siya naman ang inaccuse ng wrongdoing na may tangka pa ako i-rate niyan eh. Nabilanggo na naman si Joseph, di ba? Tapos doon sa bilanggo, marami siyang episode na akala niya makakalabas na siya hanggang hindi siya nakalabas, nakalimutan siya. Hanggang eventually, he became second in command in Egypt. So, sabi ko, napakagandang i-relate yan doon sa libro kasi many of the stories that we all go through, whether we like it or not, is merong storyline na wini-weave ang Panginoon sa buhay natin na meron tayong pagdadaanan na rock bottom, may pagdadaanan tayo na sinking boat experience that will eventually be used by the Lord for our good. Sa Genesis chapter 50 verse 20, sabi ni Joseph sa kanyang mga kapatid, nung na-realize ng mga kapatid na siya yung kapatid na pinagbili nila, natakot sila di ba, na baka bawian sila. Pero ano sinabi ni Joseph? You meant it for evil, God meant it for good. And I'm saying that to all our listeners today that there may be some things that may have gone wrong in your lives, but today the Lord is saying He can make it work for good. He can make it work for good. Kung ano man yung pinagdadaanan natin na difficulty.
Thank you for that, Omi, no? Before we ask Al to read yung marami na comments but before we ask Al to read them, no? Just going back to the story of Joseph, yung kinuwento mo, Omi, yung pinagdaanan niyang hirap, yung pinagdaanan niyang mga sakit, pero eventually yung palang ginamit ng Diyos para makatulong sa mas marami, no? Ano yung mga lesson na pwedeng paghugutan ng mga tao? Kasi, di ba, lalo na ngayon, Omi, parang kwento ni Joseph, parang kinuha lahat. Nawalan ng trabaho, nawalan ng mana sa buhay, nawalan ng purpose. So, dun sa sinking event na yun sa buhay ni Joseph, anong lesson kaya ang mapupulot ng mga tagapakinig natin?
Ang napansin ko doon sa kwento ni Joseph, what kept him going was hindi siya nawalan ng pag-asa. And I think we can assume that for him, it was important to keep God's vision in mind. Importante, Lord, kunyari may pinagdadaanan tayong katulad ni Joseph na isang pagsubok ngayon, importante sa atin na huwag tayong bibigay. Instead, let's come to the Lord and say, Lord, ano kaya ang ginagawa mo sa buhay ko ngayon through this particular difficulty? And I ask, hindi ko hinihingi, Lord, na alisin mo, hinihingi ko na i-fulfill mo kung ano yung dahilan mo kung bakit mo inalaw itong pagsubok na ito. So, keeping God's vision. Parang, imbis na nakatingin ako sa sarili ko, titingnan ko ang Panginoon, Lord, bakit? Ano ba yung ginagawa mo? And then ask God to fulfill it. And then, I think in between, while we're going through a difficulty, it's important that we remain excellent in what we do. Meaning to say, hindi tayo mawawalan ng pag-asa, hindi tayo mawawalan ng energy to be doing what we're supposed to be doing. Kasi kung minsan, when things go wrong, many of us will say, hayaan mo na yan. May tinatawag, Maya, na AQ. Di ba kasi sanay tayo sa IQ, yung intelligence quotient. It used to be that intelligence quotient was one of the success factors of one of the factors for success. Tandang-tanda ko uh, nung panahon ng aking mga ate, kung may lumiligaw sa kanila, ang tanong ng tatay ko, mataas ba IQ niyan? Yun. Ngayon, naririnig pa ba natin ang halaga ng IQ? Hindi na. Medyo may nag-emerge na ibang quotient, ang tawag adversity quotient. AQ. Ang isang pinanggagalingan ng AQ, yung framework niya, is habang tayo raw ay nagdadaan sa adversity, mas lumalakas tayo sa ating pagkatao. And even physiologically, AQ, adversity raw, has a way of improving our physiological well-being. Lumalakas daw yung ating mga dendrite, yung sa nerves natin, that conduct brains. Every adversity strengthens us. And merong finding si Paul Stoltz, who wrote something about AQ. Sabi niya, we all go through 23 adversities a day. An average of 23 adversity. Parang every hour may adversity ka. Parang si Al, yung nahuli siya sa pagdating kanina, adversity yun. And pero
He's stronger.
di ba? Kaya ang lakas na ni Al ngayon. Pero merong adversity na minor, merong major, mga illness, sakit, relationship that have become broken, drug addiction, minamatay, yung mga ganyan. Iba-iba. But when you think of adversity quotient, there are some things that make you go through it successfully. And one of it is what they call endurance. It means that pagka mataas daw ang AQ mo, kung gusto mong pataasin ang AQ mo, pagka nagdadaan ka sa isang rock bottom or nagdadaan ka sa isang boat is sinking experience, believe and be guided by the conviction that lahat yan may katapusan. In my book, one of the things that I put there is this rock bottom experience, this sinking boat experience is not your destiny. It's just a season. May katapusan din yan. May pinagdadaanan ka. And the good thing is, God is fulfilling a purpose. Naalala niyo ba yung kwento yung Red Sea? Yung mga Israelites, nililikas sila from Egypt. Tapos, biglang hinahabol sila ng mga Egyptians. Tapos, ang nasa harap nila, Red Sea. When they prayed to God for help, hindi naman tinanggal ni God yung Red Sea, di ba? In the same way, He will not remove maybe the trial or adversity that you're facing. But what God will do is He will part Red Seas. He will let you go through your rock bottom experience and accomplish His purpose accordingly. Ganda, di ba? Pati ako na-encourage you sa
Galing. Amazing. Sobrang inspiring. Yeah. Naku, ang dami ng nagre-react sa mga kinukwento mo.
Messages.
So, siguro I'll just go through some of the comments. No?
Thank you, Omi. Thank you.
Yes.
Actually, in your book, you also mentioned about being excellent in the in-betweens.
Yeah.
This resonates with me so much. Talagang nag-resonate ito sa akin, especially during this time of pandemic. And I think that the fact that we are all here this Saturday morning to learn and to be
Yes,
inspired says a lot about how we are responding to the situation. And yes, this is a step towards becoming excellent in the in betweens. We need
yes.
to evolve. We need to adapt. So, to our audience, what are your thoughts? Please keep sharing. Please keep them coming. And I'd like to read some messages
Some
Comment.
from in
comment.
the chat box. Oh, madaming comments. Um,
Ang dami
Love, we'd like to
naman,
welcome.
ano?
We have a sir, Miss Joanne Hipolito. Sabi niya, she just happened to pass by and to browse through. Then na-curious na daw siya. So, welcome and I hope you get a lot of takeaways from our webinar this morning. And sabi rin ni Dr. Lad Aradillos, I wasn't expecting you to I didn't expect it to see you here, Dr. Lad. She's my batchmate from college. Hello, welcome to our webinar. She is a frontline doctor at the Eastern Visayas Regional Medical Center. Araw-araw yan, nasa frontline. And sabi niya,
Wow,
despite
we are
her
serving.
experience, sabi niya, doon sa flight or fight, sabi niya, fight.
Yes, fight.
Thank you,
Amen.
Dr. Manalo, Dr. Lad Aradillos Manalo. And sabi rin ni Ella Abulencia, we can make it work for good. And
Wow, actually,
believe
ang
and be
dami.
guided by the foundation that this too shall pass. Yes, this too
Yes,
shall pass. Sabi
Yes,
nga ni ano, this is not our destiny. This is just a season. This is not our destiny.
yes, ang galing. Actually, ang dami nag-comment ng mga fight, 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 Omi, no? Talagang na-inspire mo this morning. Thank you so much for that. And we thank the audience also for your participation. Ang gaganda ng mga sinunod nila dito. But I'm sure, Omi, marami pang lessons from your book. Can you also share more? What other insights will they learn when they read the book? Ano pa yung mga
yes.
lessons about sinking seasons?
I want to share a sinking season in my life that happened in 1986. Alam mo, nangyari in 1986, habang nagdadaan kami ni Rosando sa 1986, ang nasa isip namin parang this is the worst year of our life. Pero when we look back now, we say it was one of the best years of our life. Kasi ano nangyari nung 1986? Alam mo, maaga pa lang, January pa lang, my father passed away. And I was very close to my dad. I was the youngest of seven. And napakalungkot na episode yun. Tapos, 5 months later, natanggal ako sa trabaho. And then we had no savings. And anong tawag dito? A month later, Rosanne would be diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And Rosanne and I make a joke out of this by saying, yung multiple sclerosis, it's a degenerative disease of the nerves, no? Sabi namin, sakit ng mayabang. Bakit sakit ng mayabang? Kasi kahit marami kang pera, kahit marami kang kakilala, wala pa ring solusyon. There's no treatment to, if at all there are symptomatic treatments, pero nothing that cures it. Kaya, so parang degenerative disease. And it was so disturbing kasi sabi nung, parang nagtataning yung mga doktor na, sabi nila mga 10, 15 years. Pero thank God, yung story ni Rosan doon, uh, she's now on her 34th year of battling with multiple sclerosis, and yet she's there. And remember, tinanong nyo kanina, what does it mean to be excellent in the in-betweens? Maybe I just wanted to highlight that by saying, by being excellent, what God is calling us to is to savor the moment. Kumbaga sa Tagalog, lasapin natin yung pinagdadaanan natin na pagsubok kasi merong ginagawa ang Panginoon na if we're not attentive to it, if we're not sensitive to it, mapapabayaan natin. And this one thing I know, that the rock bottom or sinking boat experience that you will go through, hindi hahayaan ng Panginoon na masayang yan. You know what He's going to do? He's going to make sure that others will benefit from it. Meron ako isang favorite verse na sa 2 Corinthians chapter 1 verses 3 to 4. Ang sinasabi doon ganito, thanks be to God the Father who comforts us in all our troubles so that we can comfort those who are similarly afflicted. So ano sinasabi doon? Ang kwento ng buhay natin, we go through adversity, and then as we go through those adversities, the Lord uses us to be His presence to those who will go through a similar trial, a similar rock bottom, a similar sinking boat experience, so that we can be His presence to them. And bakit niya ginagawa yon? Kasi we need people who've been there, who've done that. Di ba expression natin yun? Been there, done that, yung mga ganyan. So, yun, yung being excellent in the in-betweens also tells us, let's savor the moment. Let's ask God. Being excellent is asking God, Lord, what are you teaching me here? What are the lessons I can pick up from here? Para hindi masayang yung pagsubok. Sayang naman yung pagsubok, di ba, kung dadaanan lang natin. And I'm beginning to see that the Lord allows rock bottoms. The Lord allows sinking boat experiences for a purpose. Hindi siya wasteful God eh. He's a God of purpose. Kaya no experience comes to us without a purpose. He doesn't allow that. Kung makikita niya makakasama sa atin, He will not allow it. He's powerful. And yet, when He allows something difficult to happen in our lives, we can be sure that He's going to make something out of it. Hindi siya, hindi niya hahayaan na may masayang na pagdadaanan natin. Savor the moment. Oh yes, ang dami nagko-comment nga, savor the moment. Oo.
Yeah.
Actually, ang gaganda ng mga
Tama-tama.
comments.
Oo.
Mi, sabi ni, dito, sabi ni Rona, God will make sure that other people will also benefit from your rock bottom experience. I think
Yun.
it is part of God's plan, I would like to say, for you to
Yes.
write the book and to share your rock bottom experience to give us hope. And
Oo.
another comment from Leslie Nava Ortega, an obstacle is a step, is a stepping stone. An
Yeah.
obstacle is a stepping stone. Sabi niya, I love it. Thank you,
Yes.
Leslie.
Ito, yung obstacle pwede stepping stone. Meron pa isa eh. The rock bottom experience can actually propel you to where God wants you to be. Mamadaliin niya.
Wow.
Parang He's going to use what you're going through now. For example, in this pandemic, I think it behooves you to ask the Lord today, Lord, itong pandemic na ito, it's affecting us globally, but let's talk person to person, Lord. What are you accomplishing in me? Anong gusto mong pagdaanan ko para mahulma ako? Ang ganda ng word na hulma, di ba? To be molded into what you want us to be during this time. And alam mo, marami ako nakakausap na kasama sa trabaho, ang sinasabi nila, what this pandemic is doing is making them see what's important in their lives and making them see similarly what's not important in their lives. Parang nire-reset tayo ng Panginoon eh, di ba?
Ay, oo. Speaking of recent movie, thank you for those very, very inspiring words. Ang dami talagang napapulot sa mga listeners natin today. No? So, after the rock bottom, ano na yung next? So, sabi mo kanina, this as a season at a destiny. So, how do we do a destination check? Kumbaga, parang,
Yeah.
where do we go here? So, what's next?
Importante sa akin, meron akong napansin nyo sa mga mall, pagka nawawala kayo, pumunta kayo doon sa center, doon sa information center, usually, meron niyang mapa, tapos meron siyang araw na nakalagay, you are here. Di ba? Tapos hahanapin mo kung saan yung pupuntahan mo, makikita mo yung direction mo. And in particular, I want to relate that to what we're going through in our rock bottoms. It's important for us to ask the Lord, Lord, nasaan ba ako ngayon? And where are you taking me? And the answer may not come audibly, it may not come right away, pero it's a question that you want to pose to the Lord and trust that He will answer and give you direction. In my case, nung nawalan ako ng trabaho noong 1986, the usual mode of engagement for me was, nag-apply ako kaliwat kanan, apply dito, apply doon. Eventually, that journey took me to being on my own, being an entrepreneur. Napansin ko na hindi pala akong magiging mabuting empleyado. I was better enterprising, looking at needs of people and meeting those needs and then forming an enterprise to serve it. So kaya ako napunta dun sa, at that time naging distributor ako for 3M Dental, for 3M Medical, for Warner Lambert, for Colgate, all on my own. Uh, Hindi ako as an employee but as a provider, as an entrepreneur. And I couldn't have gotten to that place kung hindi ako natanggal sa trabaho, 'di ba? Ang loko nga nung aking mga kaibigan is ano, yun daw hanap buhay ko is called alpine industry. Whatever you need, alpine it, 'di ba? Gets ba? Gets? What teka, katulad ng Lucido Financials, one of the things that that I found very fulfilling was I worked as a, at that time ang tawag underwriter pero ngayon financial advisor, because it's a real need. It's a real need of people to have be able to set aside an amount to save, and not just to save but also to protect themselves from risks before. Kaya humahanga ako sa Lucido Financials. I mean, this is, if I keep on telling Rosan that if I were not in consulting, I would be in financial advisory, doing what Lucy, baka mag-apply ako kay Rayson.
Nako, with open arms pa, Omi, ano, talagang we will be very happy to have you. Nako, ang daming mga comments. No? So,
Oo nga, ang
before
daming
we-
comments. Thank you again, Omi. I'm sure our audience can relate so much to what you said about, taking a step back. And kasi kailangan natin minsan, we need to step back, reflect, so we can make an honest assessment of where we are now. So we will
Yes.
know how to proceed. We have some very beautiful comments here. We have one from our guest, Zel de la Cruz. Sabi niya, what I admire most about Sir Omi is that he is so in tune with every movements of God in his life. Whether
Oh,
he
yeah.
is experiencing rock bottom or maybe even in the ordinariness of life. My
Yeah.
takeaway is that to savor the moments we are facing challenges, and we will learn, we will grow and love others and God even more.
Yes. Oh, thank you,
And
Zel.
And another message, yung parang ano lang ito, na bumili lang ate ito ng toyo sa kanto, biglang napadaan dito. Thank you, Joanne Hipolito. Sabi niya, been curious and 40 minutes after still tuned in. Thank you, Joanne. God may be telling me through you, been through rock bottom, and I guess I needed to hear again why we had to go through it.
Wow, thank you,
Thank
Joan.
you, Joe.
Joan,
Thank you,
Joan.
Joanne.
Yeah.
sobrang
Grabe
ano,
salamat.
sobrang inspiring. Thank you, Omi. No? Naku, ang bilis ng oras. No? And I'm sure marami ka pang pwedeng i-share, pero before we let you go, no? Siguro, at this point, Omi, we will ask you to directly address the audience. All of us go through what you call the rock bottom drop.
Yeah.
And we will ask you at this point to maybe just share more of your heart to them before we end this session.
Yes, I thank God that I can share these experiences with you, and I think in whatever life situation you're in, I just want to share with you that rock bottoms and boat is sinking episodes will happen. Itanim na natin sa ating paniniwala yan, and pero itanim natin kasama ng pananampalataya sa Panginoon that God will never withhold any good thing from us, and part of that plan of never withholding any good thing from us is also to allow us to go through difficulty. um, I just want to share with you that binabasa ko lang recently ito, Matthew chapter 14, na yung si Jesus, ay yung mga apostles sumakay ng bangka, tapos binagyo sila. Tapos ang kwento doon, Jesus did not appear until the fourth watch of the night. Yung palang fourth watch of the night, pinag-aaralan namin ni Rosan, parang in terms of our timing pala, mga 3 o'clock na umaga pala yon. And naniniwala ako sa mga buhay ninyo na kung kayo'y nagdadaan sa isang pagsubok, if God was just concerned about giving you comfort, hindi na siya maghihintay ng fourth watch of the night. Dadating siya kaagad. But the fact that He is not arriving right away, He's not answering your prayer right away, naghihintay ka pa, means that He's forming you into the person that He wants you to be. And so I just say, savor it, and ask the Lord to guide you through it and make the most out of it. Saying, Lord, hindi ka naman random eh. And I believe that you're a God who has called us for a purpose. We want to be clear about who we are. We want to live according to your purpose, and we want to follow the destiny that you have set for us. So, yun siguro yung gusto kong ipasa sa inyo, that as you move on from here, that you will have fresh and new perspective facing not just this pandemic. You know, there is a greater pandemic that's facing us. It's not the virus per se, but a pandemic that turns away from God, a pandemic that is insensitive to what God is doing. And I believe that the Lord is using this time to reset us. Yung, di ba, sa computer or any gadget natin, pagka naglolo ko, pagka ni-reset mo, babalik siya doon sa original setting. And I believe God wants to do that to us now, that He wants to reset us to our original setting according to His plan and purpose. So God has called you by name. He created you. You belong to Him. And He is here rearing to fulfill His plan and purpose for you through all that you go through. Amen.
Thank you, Omi. Wow. Wow, speechless ako.
Wow. Yeah.
Tumayas
I am
man.
also speechless din ako. Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
Omi. Thank you, Omi, for
Yeah.
speaking to us with words that give hope, words that soothe and heal our hearts and soul.
Very much needed, yes. Very much needed during this time. And our our audience are also very grateful to you, Omi. You are so thankful for all the input that you have given this morning. And I'm
Yes.
sure this will be the last, so we are almost home stretch, and maybe before we will promote where to get the book. Siguro, Omi, parang moving forward, so how do we, any last words or final sharing, way forward, how to move from this pandemic as a closing?
Alam mo, siguro gagamitin ko yung one of the chapters in the book called The Drop, D-R-O-P.
Oh,
Pagka nagdadaan tayo sa rock bottom natin, tandaan natin, God uses it to distill what's important in us. Parang sinasala niya kung ano yung mahalaga sa buhay natin. Importante yun eh. Kasi if everything in our life is important, nothing is. Di ba? Kailangan masala kung ano yung importante. R is, it reveals our nothingness. Napaka-importante na pag dumaan tayo sa ating, while we journey with the Lord, that we know who we are, and that apart from the Lord, there is no good thing in us. Tapos yung O, yung it opens up possibilities for us. Let's pray that through all that you go through, rock bottom or sinking boat experience, that the Lord will indeed open up the doors that will never be shut. Di ba? Importante yun. And then P, He will propel you to where you want to be. Where you want. Hindi siya maaksaya sa oras eh. Ang Panginoon is in a hurry. He wants to fulfill His plan and purpose for your life. So DROP, distill. He reveals our nothingness. He opens doors, and then He propels us to where He wants us to be. Thank you.
wow, ang galing. Wow. What a very, very great conclusion for our series. Ang galing. Ano masasabi
Yes.
mo, Al?
Yeah, siguro for me, Omi, ang great biggest takeaway ko for today is God is not random. You mentioned that earlier. He's a
Yes.
God of purpose, and I think ang parang action ko dyan is for me to be able to discern what is God's purpose for my life, and
Yes.
and then align all that I do along that purpose. How can you
Yes.
go wrong if kung ang tinatrabaho mo is yung purpose ni God for you?
Yes.
Wow, thank you, Omi.
Amazing.
We are so grateful for your time. I know you are a very busy person, but you were generous
Uy,
enough to spend your time with us, no?
Yes.
I'm sure our audience are curious, so paano ba sila makakakuha ng book mo? Naku, nabasa na namin yung book, sobrang ganda. So please,
Ay,
Omi,
salamat.
just share where or how they can avail of your book.
Okay. Uy, madali lang. Pumunta kayo sa theboatissinking.com. So, tuloy-tuloy lang, walang space. Theboatissinking.com. And there you'll have options kung gusto niyo yung ebook, kung gusto niyo yung Kindle, or kung gusto niyo yung hard copy katulad ng hinahawakan kanina ni Rayson, yung ganire, yung ganyan. Makikita niyo na doon. And then it's easy, just put there how you want to, where you want it delivered, and it will be brought to you.
Ayan, there you go. So, theboatissinking.com. So, syempre, kung gusto niyo may autograph ni Omi, may additional 100 pesos. Oh, no, just kidding. Pag gusto niyo hard copy. But I got the Kindle version, and I tell you, it's really, really worth reading, lalo na during this time, no? And it's a
Yes.
wonderful. I would even encourage you, don't just get a copy for yourself. So I would encourage the audience to get a copy and give it to your loved ones, especially sa ating mga, if you have frontliners na kilala na po, irigalo niyo yung libro na ito ni Omi. Talagang very, very, very grateful. So
Yeah.
once again, thank you so much, Omi. We are blessed to
Thank
have you.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
We are
you too.
so
Maraming salamat sa lahat.
grateful for you. Thank you, Omi. God bless you.
God bless.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we formally end, no, again, grabe, ang ganda ng session natin. Sobrang,
Oh.
wow,
Yeah,
what a great way to
punong-puno
start.
ang puso ko dito kay Omi.
Yes. So we would like to thank our audience for tuning in and for giving us 1 hour of your time. So again, go to the website, and we do this every month, usually every third or last Saturday of the month. So if you're new here at Lucido Financials, please go to our page, okay, like and share it, and so that you'll be updated with our future sharings. Malay mo, baka next month mag-guest natin yung asawa ni Omi. Ang ganda rin ng kwento noon. Sobrang
Who knows?
inspiring.
I
din.
heard. Yeah, I heard.
So, just we will keep you posted. Please tune in and go to our page, and we'll see you soon. No? So, thank you again, for hosting with me.
Yes,
you for all
thank you. And please like and share our page again, because here at Lucido Financials, we do care.
care.
This is where I am now. I still can't believe that after all the hard work, I'd end up here. I did everything I'm supposed to. I told myself if I kept grinding, my life would change. But now I know it was just a dream. It was just a dream. But now I know my life would change. I kept grinding. I told myself if I did everything I'm supposed to, I'd end up here. After all the hard work, I still can't believe that this is where I am now.